What's happening, guys? Welcome to TRHS Sports in the house tonight. We have my two experts here, Josh and Cameron, to talk all things running backs. Now, if you just jumped on here and you're like, what in the world is Russell doing? Not talking reality TV. I'm going to do this for a little while. This is a four-part series. We're doing quarterbacks. We just did that yesterday. Running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and defense. So it's going to be four parts. Right now, for now, I'm going to do this on the Russell Hance channel that you guys see. This is also streaming on TRHS Sports YouTube channel. So you can go there and subscribe now. We're already at 200 subscribers. We just opened it yesterday. So that's what we're doing here. That's why we're here. We won't always be here. So if you don't subscribe to the TRHS Sports YouTube channel, then you will miss it when daily fantasy comes. I won't be streaming all the time on the Russell Hance show, just so you guys know. So now, right off the bat, we're going to go ahead and get into the first tier, and we have already people commenting on number one, Christian McCaffrey.
Hey, no spoilers, guys. No spoilers.
I don't know if he's number one.
It's like off the top rope spoilers.
I'm just saying I have a lot to say about that when it comes to that. Because of your comment yesterday, Josh, with the Giants quarterback, I might be on the fence here. So we'll go ahead and get into it. Josh, we'll start with you. Let's go ahead and break out some number one tiers. Now, this is exciting because it's running backs. Number one, they're going to go before anybody. These players should go before anybody. You shouldn't pick, I don't care who it is. There's not a wide receiver out there, even if it's Thomas, shouldn't go before at least what? At least 5 or 7 of these running backs? What do you think, Josh?
At least, I'd say at least 4 or 5. Definitely at least 5, I would say. 6, I mean, it's arguable. You can easily take 7, 8 guys. I mean, Michael Thomas, like I said, we'll talk about when we talk receivers, but running backs to me is the most important position in fantasy football, in winning mostly dailies and definitely in year longs, getting the right running backs or just a bunch of running backs.
But you ideally want to get about like 70 touches a week from your running backs.
Yep,
that's kind of what you want to get.
Yep.
So we'll get right into it, Josh. Go ahead and give me your number one pick. We'll go. Go ahead and we'll go and we'll just go with the first pick, first overall pick.
Yeah.
Where do you think that your number one, is it far and beyond the rest of them? Who is your number one?
I don't have them far and beyond the rest of them, but in PPR formats, I think Christian McCaffrey is definitely the first pick. Just because of, 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving, all the catches, especially even with Teddy Bridgewater coming in, they're going to dump out to McCaffrey. He's one of the most unique talents in the game of football, whether it's offense or defense. And like I said, we're going to do all tier 1 running backs to start, but to me, he's probably the safest bet on the board to take, especially in PPRs. And again, that's very distinctive because if you're not in a PPR format, which nowadays is kind of odd because even most standard leagues have at least a half-point PPR, if not a full point in all of them. To me, like I said, Christian McCaffrey to me is the number one pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't have him. He's the number one, but I wouldn't have him leaps and bounds above number 2. I wouldn't be disappointed if I got who I feel like is number 2. I'd be happy with it.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, he's the safest, and like we've said in the quarterbacks, when you're doing running backs, you're doing season long. You want consistency. You want guys that every week are going to get the same thing for you, same touches, same things. You don't want to get those guys that have high volatility, and that's what. And Christian McCaffrey, like you said, he's the number one guy as far as volume, pass catching, red zone. He's got the whole package.
So would you think if I would, number one first round pick, I'm just going to throw this name out there, but if I was Devon Cook, I'm picking Cook first round, would you say you're crazy? First round, first pick. I'm picking over Christian McCaffrey.
First pick. Yes, I'd say you're crazy for the first pick overall. Yes.
Okay. What about Barkley or Elliott?
I wouldn't say you're crazy.
Cameron.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you're crazy. I wouldn't advise it, but I mean, if you did it, I could see it. The talent's there.
So if you get first round overall, both of you are picking Christian McCaffrey, no questions asked.
Yes. The only thing I would possibly consider if it's not PPR, but I'd probably still take McCaffrey.
Man, the only thing that scares me is he doesn't have his quarterback anymore. The scared Cam Newton. You don't have the scared Cam Newton dumping down to him. He has a quarterback that's going to be slinging it.
I think McCaffrey's quarterback proof, no matter if it's elite or not elite. Like, he played with Kyle Allen last year. He played a couple games with Will Grier and was still like the top fantasy running back. You know what I mean? So I think Christian McCaffrey. Some guys I think are quarterback proof. Like, when we get to receivers, I think that's different. But I think with some running backs, just because he's so high volume in the passing game, like, if you get 7 catches for 10 yards, that's 8 points. That's just 8 throwaway points there, just in the passing game alone in a standard PPR league.
Right. Yeah, I agree, 100%. There's no real debate for me as far as who's number one.
So it's not even close. I mean, would you consider Christian one of the best, possibly one of the best ever coming out the backfield in PPR?
Production-wise, sure.
Yeah, it's like when LaDainian Tomlinson was like one of the early 2000s, mid-2000s, getting like 100-catch season and also 1,000 yards rushing. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like – go ahead. Sorry, Cayman.
No, and he's durable.
Yeah. Like I think he missed like one game. I think he missed like one game like last year. And now he's already had 3 seasons. I don't think it's crazy to say Saquon Barkley, though, because I'm also biased because Saquon played high school football 10 minutes from where I live. So I'm also biased to Saquon Barkley. Whitehall, PA, shout out. But he showed, like I said, he was injured last year. He missed a lot of games. I think, me personally, I have Saquon Barkley 2 as the number 2 elite running back to take. Like, to me, if you get him second, you're very happy still. And I think he's only he was the number 1 pick last year almost in all the drafts. But again, he missed a lot of time. But again,
healthy.
Yeah, and that's that was the problem. He played maybe a handful of games at full health last year.
Well, if you think this is what's a little confusing to me, Josh. If you think that Daniel Jones is going to do as good as you think he's going to do, why wouldn't you pair him with Barkley if you could?
I would definitely pair him with if I could, but I still wouldn't take him over McCaffrey. So, you know what I mean? Even if he's he's my second-ranked running back, which is still obviously very high. But Christian McCaffrey is to me is the number 1 overall player in fantasy football.
Okay, so
no matter
what,
him
at the top, it's not going to happen. So now, do you have a shuffle? I mean, can you shuffle Barkley, Elliott, Cook, Kamara? Can you shuffle them up to be the second pick overall, or are you stuck with Barkley?
Good, Cameron.
Well, first off, I'll say Kamara. I wouldn't have Kamara. I wouldn't draft Kamara. Me personally. Maybe it's
man, they got a quarterback with an arm that can't throw downfield. Where's he going to throw?
That's where's Kamara going to run? Like, when Kamara got the full load, he didn't do very well. Like, he had spurts where he did okay, but when he has the full load running back, he doesn't do as good. I'm not drafting him. I wouldn't fault you for drafting him or anybody else who drafted him because the talent is there, but I wouldn't have him. If you're looking at the number 2, there's only two people that I would look at number 2. Dalvin Cook earlier, Zeke and Saquon Barkley. And Saquon for me is the number 2, right? I can see arguments for Zeke at number 2, but Saquon's talent, I think Saquon, although Christian McCaffrey is the best overall player in fantasy, I think the most talented running back in fantasy is Saquon Barkley. And he can bust you from 80 yards at any point in time.
Oh man, he's so talented. Yeah, when I was watching him run last year, it was like, am I watching Barry Sanders? I'm bigger, better Barry Sanders right now. Like, it was blowing my mind, some of the things, the moves he was making, not just running over people either. He's just super talented. But man, I'm gonna be devil's advocate here with Kamara. I would not be shocked if Kamara is the number 1 running back at the end of the season.
But how does he get there?
With dumping down, with Breeze dumping all day long, dumping it down to him. They know
last year.
Well, they know his arm is. Well, they did that the year before too. Look what happened. I mean,
right. That's what I'm saying. And like we've been saying, we want the consistency, right? So he's got 1 year where he did great. He's got another year where he didn't. What's the difference? What's the change? The first year, people didn't really know about Alvin Kamara. He was a guy. Well, they knew about him. They knew his talent, but they didn't know he was like Alvin Kamara, right? Then the next year, they have film on him. They have they can adjust to him, and he didn't have the same production.
Jackson. Same thing with Jackson. Same my scenario with Lamar Jackson. Same type. That's what I think is going to happen. So I understand what you're saying. They have film on them now. They can study it, and it's easier to lock it down.
I still like Kamara. Like I said, I'm still on the Kamara train. Like I said, for me, he's around 4th or 5th. Like I would still definitely take obviously Saquon, like I said, 2, and Zeke for me 3. Or like to me, they're like the 3. Obviously with McCaffrey. I mean, I still think Kamara is capable. Like, I don't know if he's going to get 1,000 yards rushing, but I think he could get 1,000 yards receiving, 800 yards rushing, and double-digit touchdowns with like 85 receptions.
So they're really.
I'd be happy at 5 getting him.
But they're 2 really because y'all both said McCaffrey's just above all of them. I agree with that. So there's McCaffrey. If you had a legit tier, it would be McCaffrey by himself. The next 2 would be Baltimore and Elliott.
Yeah.
You choose. Yeah. That's how you would choose if they're not on the board. Okay.
Right.
So how about we're going to place it like that? First tier, McCaffrey. Second tier, Barkley and Elliott. I'm okay with that. Now, 3rd tier, now it gets tricky because I think you have some solid running backs in the 3rd tier. Any one of these 3rd tier guys could all of a sudden have a crazy good year. Josh, who do you think? 3rd tier.
I really like. Finally, he stayed healthy. I really do like Dalvin Cook. I think he has a lot. Like I said, a lot of talent. I think they're going to still run the ball a lot. He's going to get a lot of touches. I know Alexander Madison's there to get touches. They do like him a lot, but I do think Dalvin Cook, and I still do like Derrick Henry. Even he did get paid, and sometimes you worry about that after running backs get the big payday. Even though he definitely deserved it. I still think Derrick Henry and Cook are both 2 guys that are going to get fed. And Cook's still higher for me because I think he'll get some more catches. But Henry's still going to get like a ton of yards and a ton of touchdowns. So, I mean, Cook and Henry in the next year for me, I feel really good about.
So, I like...
so you have Henry at 4 or you have Henry at 5?
No, I had Kamara at 4 still. Like I said, I was a little higher on Kamara. Sorry, and then I like Cook and Henry were like 5, 6, about equal to me. Like, but all 3 of them are interchangeable. Like, if you told me, I mean, I would still have Kamara higher. Like, I would go Kamara, Cook, Henry. Because I think there's gonna be a little regression from Henry, but not that much. That's just how I feel about it coming into this year.
If Dalvin plays, yeah, absolutely.
But that's the thing.
There's rumors that he's holding out.
And I heard that too. So that's you know what I mean. Yeah, that's why I think if you get Cook, you have to get Madison then, like the old good handcuff term. And that's important, Absolutely. Like you said. And I see some people in our chat are definitely up to date too. Like if Cook holds out, but you still take a risk on him, you have to get Madison in a year long league.
Well, I have my 4th. I have Cook, 5th Kamara, 6th Jacobs, and then Henry. Jacobs, baby, don't give up. Don't give up.
So you got Josh Jacobs in the 1st round.
Yep. Well, a 3rd tier.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he has the volume. He's a consistency guy. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. He's going to have the volume. The passing game work, we need a little bit more from him in the passing game for me if he's going to be that high.
Where do you have Kamara?
Me?
Yeah.
I'd probably, like I had said previously, I didn't have enough time to make a list today, but if I were to put Kamara, I'd probably put him as the last of the elite running backs. So you have him at 4 and Henry at 7, I believe. Is that right?
So you would have.
Yes, he had Jacobs in this.
Okay, I would probably.
Would you have Jacobs above Kamara?
No.
For me, like Jacobs is kind of. For me, again, for me, I'm like end of first, like about like my 10th, 11th ranked running back. Mm-hmm. And the only reason he does get the volume, he doesn't get as many catches, at least last year, at least as a rookie. But
here we go. Here we go. I got to make this clear. I'm not a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
I don't know. I feel like we might have to send you some Bengals jersey, Russell.
It's a little crazy. I have Josh Jacobs above Derrick Henry. That's maybe a little psycho, but I do. And then I have Mixon right below Derrick Henry at my number 8. Do you guys think that Mixon is a flop or something? Like, what's going on here?
No, I think he's led the AFC in rushing last year. I mean, he's a little outside. He's a little outside my top 5, but I have him about 8th, 9th on my list. Like, I like Joe Mixon. He can do a lot for the Bengals, and I'm interested to see what he does now with Burrow, like your boy Russell Burrow coming in, and like more talent if they're all healthy. I still think Mixon easily is Mixon's definitely an RB1. You draft him the first round in a year-long league, you pick 8th or 9th, you're very happy if you get Joe Mixon. Even towards the end, if a receiver run, I'm picking 10th, 11th, 12th. I'm happy with Joe Mixon, definitely.
Okay. So let's say I'm going to draw a line right here on mine, but let's go ahead and I want your opinion on what running back is going to do the best with the quarterback that they have and the offense that they run, besides McCaffrey, Barkley, and Elliott. Besides them three, what quarterback is going to be dumping it down? Who's that guy we need to look for on day one?
I think a guy that I'm really high on because he finished the second half of the year huge once he got to a new team is Kenyan Drake in Arizona. Kenyan Drake, the last 8 weeks of the season, averaged over 100 scrimmage yards, about 80 yards rushing, and about 4 or 5 catches. Like, I remember for me in like my semifinal game in my fantasy playoffs, he had 40-some fantasy points. Like, Cliff Kingsbury's offense, and I know it's high on Kyler Murray too, so you're going to hear a lot of Cardinals love from me this year for fantasy. Like, they might go 6-10, but I think fantasy-wise, they're going to put up points on offense. They're going to put up yards, they're going to put up volume. And they kept him. He's going to get the volume in Arizona, and he catches the ball. Like, Kenyan Drake's one of my guys with Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. Kenyan Drake is going to have a monster year.
Yeah, that's probably who I would have said too, but I don't want to double up on that. I'll probably go Austin Eckler. They got a quarterback in Tyrod Taylor, who he's not a deep down the field passer. He's a game manager, Austin Eckler. And then they've got the rookie Justin Herbert. He's not going to attack down the field either. He's going to look for the check downs. He's going to look for the easy passes, get in a rhythm. And Eckler destroys in the passing game. He just tears it. You dump it off to him, he's going to get you.
Crazy.
Yeah. And they've shown that they'll also run him through the tackles if they have to. He's not a big guy, but they'll show that they will do it.
And I saw a lot of like hype because Justin Jackson is going to get volume, but Eckler's another one I think just fantasy proof. Like, even if he's like, say you draft at the end, like you get like him and like Miles Sanders as your top 2 running backs. Like, they're both around like the 10 through 13. I know you mentioned Miles yesterday, Cameron, and I'm on the same bandwagon with you. Like, if Eckler and Sanders are your 2 top running backs, you're in great shape. Like, there's points. Eckler could have 20 rushing yards, but still get a 20-point fantasy game because of his receiving ability, and they're still going to get him the ball down close to the end zone.
I mean, you have a real shot if you pick first, picking McCaffrey, and then picking Austin Eckler. That'd be crazy if that's your backups. I mean, you're running backups.
And Eckler still, even when Melvin Gordon came back, Eckler was still the better back in San Diego, and they knew it. They had to get, once they realized it, they're going to get him the ball. So I don't think Justin Jackson's that big of a threat for him. Eckler can easily be a running back 1 this year.
I think he will be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, like when I say running back 1, like a top 12 running back, because that's like the starter. But like running back 1 for me still. Definitely Austin Eckler.
So I had Joe Mixon, of course, number 8. But number 9, I have Nick Chubbs. We haven't talked about old Nicky boy. What do y'all think about him?
I like him. I like him as a talent. I think he's a great running back. He's also in a timeshare, though. He's got Hunt. So,
so we're doing that. We're doing the Patreon Fantasy League. We're doing all that stuff. We're building it right now. We're building the TRHS Sports. That's why we're doing it. Just off the subject a little bit, I bought one of these things.
The Wickets?
Reds. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll go early today. I'll do me a girly drink. So,
I was making fun of my buddy. We're here in Tunica. We're in Tunica, and I'm in the casino right now. And he was bringing White Claws. I'm like, what are you doing?
So I'm gonna have to say that I give this a thumbs down. Number 1, because they're not sponsoring us. If they were sponsoring us, I'd give it a thumbs up. But it tastes like a beer infused with an apple juice.
I I've never had it,
terrible.
so I don't know.
It's not that good. But anyway, so Nick Chubb's, man. So what do y'all think about Chubb's?
No,
Yeah.
I like Chubb too, like Cameron said, but Kareem Hunt is in the backfield with him. But I still think once even Kareem Hunt came, they used both of them. Like I think Hunt will get more of the passing game, but Nick Chubb's such a good talent, especially running, that I still think he's still a running back one to me, even though lower end running back one, but still a running back one. Like he's definitely a 1,000-yard guy, at least eight touchdowns, 8 to 10 touchdowns, and he'll still sprinkle in like some catches, but I still think he's going to have a very solid year.
I think he's so powerful. He will be their main man for sure. I don't know if Hunt's like 28 on my list. I don't know if he's going to bother him that much because he didn't when he came back. He still was getting good production.
I still think Hunt could be like a flex action in PPR because I still think they'll use like two. Like they'll try to because there are two of them where it's just talent. So you know what I mean.
And Stefanski as well when he was in the Cleveland head coach when he was in Minnesota, he liked to pound the ball and run it a lot. He used Dalvin Cook for 25 carries, 26 carries a game, and Dalvin Cook's not that durable of a guy. So there may be the touches to go around. If he's running Chubb 20 times a game, he's giving Kareem Hunt maybe 8 to 9 carries a game in the passing game work. There may be room for both.
Do you think that's going to happen? Though, would you stay away from him because of that?
I mean, there's still one guy we still one guy we didn't really talk about that I'm a little higher on than Chubb. Like Chubb for me is a little lower running back. Like I still think he's like on like that cusp on like the heel, on like the hook of like the end of round one, early round two Chubb. I still have a guy like Aaron Jones ahead of Nick Chubb just because of the touchdowns. Even though I know like A.J. Dillon got drafted too, but I still think Aaron Jones just because so much in the passing game. And he showed he can score touchdowns. I mean, he almost had 20 touchdowns last season. So I would have like Aaron Jones ahead of Chubb still this year. But I don't think you can go wrong. Like again, where you're drafting, you just want to get the best running backs available and build a good team. And like wait on the quarterbacks, like we said last night. Wait on the quarterbacks. Get the running backs because they're such a valuable commodity.
You know how every season we have some rookie running back that just does crazy good, and people. They jump on them probably mid-season. I think that running back will be Clyde Edwards. I think that with Kansas City, it's going to be crazy. I have him in my 13 on my board here. So I like the position he's in because of the offense he's going to. Almost the same type running style offense as who am I talking about? Clyde. Same style offense as LSU. Running and gunning it like LSU did. So I think he's sitting pretty, Clyde. I have him number 13.
I agree with you. I think Edwards-Helaire could easily be a top 10 running back in fantasy this year if he gets like the volume, which I think he will. Like we mentioned last night when we talked about Mahomes, Edwards-Helaire easily is looking to be like in that Brian Westbrook, Andy Reid role from the Eagles in the mid-2000s, early to mid-2000s. He's going to get catches, even if Damian Williams still gets time. Running backs in the Andy Reid system, they eat and they get fantasy points. So I think he could easily be higher, but I think you're right spot on, Russell. Like going into the draft, I think that's a good spot.
What do you think, man? You're an LSU hater. What do you think? You think Clyde's going to be kicking butt this year? I think he's the number one running back rookie easily.
I
agree. Hands down.
We've also got Jonathan Taylor. In Indianapolis, who's going to be pretty good. I know Marlon Mack's up there, but I like Jonathan Taylor a lot.
Same. And I think there's one other rookie too that I like a lot too. I think Cam Akers is going to get a lot of look in the Rams offense, and being in Sean McVay's offense, I think Akers is going to get enough to could be like a running back too this year.
Now it's in the Rams offense. It's Darrell Henderson season, man. It's Darrell Henderson season.
We might have to we'll make a side bet on that one.
Oh, I will. I'll go. Hey, that's a hill I'll die on.
All right, sounds good to me.
So we got we talked about what about Kenyan Drake?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before. I'm hot. Kenyan Drake, I have 8th on my list. He's like in that next tier, right with like Aaron Jones, Mixon, but I like him a lot because of the offense he's in. And again, like I said, the last half of the season, he put up monster numbers, like top 5 fantasy running back numbers, and carried teams to win championships when it came to the fantasy playoffs, and won you a ton of money if you played him in dailies, because his price tag never went sky high until like the last week or two. So people probably won a ton of money playing Kenyan Drake at the right price, and he's in a great offense with Kingsbury's offense.
Okay, you want to answer this question right here, Josh?
David Johnson's like that ultimate guy that like he really had one monster year and became a top 3 fantasy running back, and since then's always been hurt. He's honestly on my down list. I saw him as like a low end running back too. And again, there's no running backs you don't draft. It's all about timing with running backs, because you want to load up on running backs. It's timing. And unfortunately, I think David Johnson's kind of towards the end. And I'm sorry to say that, Russell. I know he's on your Texans, and that was part of the Hopkins trade. But I mean, I think he could still be a running back too. But I wouldn't expect the old David Johnson from the 1 or 2 years in Arizona anymore.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to dip out for a minute. I'll be in the comments with you guys. Okay.
All right, man.
All right.
That's cool. All right. So, what's he doing? He's leaving for a second.
Yeah, and he said he'll be in the comments.
Okay. So we have my number. Keenan Drake was my number 10. My number 11 is Austin Eckler. Mm-hmm. Number 12 is Miles Sanders.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm biased towards Miles Sanders because I'm a Penn State fan and an Eagles fan, like I said. But I think he showed his potential, and he's not going to be a bell cow because they're still going to play some Boston Scott. But Miles Sanders easily has running back 1 upside this season. He's going to catch passes. He's going to get enough touches. He's going to score touchdowns. I'm
going to name some names here, and then you tell me where to stop. Just say stop.
For the next tier.
3, with the third tier, without number 1, Christian McCaffrey. Second tier, Barkley and Elliott. Now these players,
and I would call these guys like mid to low end running back 2 tier guys.
Right. If you're okay with these or picking any of these in the first round, that's basically what I want to know.
Oh, in the first round?
Well, yeah, because you're going to try to get a running back.
Yeah.
Let's say you want a running back in the first round.
Okay.
So where would you stop and go ahead and go some other route?
I probably wouldn't even take Miles Sanders in the first round. He would be like early second for me.
Okay, so what about Cook?
Yes.
First round?
Dalvin Cook, yes.
Kamara.
Yes.
Josh Jacobs.
End of the first round, early second round, so potentially yes.
Derrick Henry.
Yes, first round.
Joe Mixon.
Yes, first round.
Chubbs.
Yes. Towards the end of the first round, potentially early second, but still running back 1.
Kenyan Drake.
I would take him in the first round this year. He's a hill I'm dying on. Kenyan Drake, like I said, probably the whole Cardinals offense, because you know how I was on Kyler Murray last night too. So yes, I would take Kenyan Drake's a guy I'm putting money in on this year.
Austin Eckler.
See, that one's tough for me. Like, end of the first, early second, I wouldn't fault you for taking him year long in the first round. I'd prefer to get someone like him in the second round, but I wouldn't fault you to take him in the first round because he has easily top 10 running back.
Miles Sanders, is that where you stop?
Yeah, I would kind of take him. So I wouldn't take him in the first round. I would take receivers over him when it comes to that.
Would you skip that and go Clyde Edwards? Would you take him in the first round?
It's hard. See, it's weird. It's weird because I really think he's going to be a top 10 running back this year. So I would have to say yes. But I mean, I think in a year long, I would still take I'd still take someone. I'd take like DeAndre Hopkins over Allaire if I'm drafting in the first round at that point.
Right. Then you're talking about. Yeah. Then you're talking about picking Eckler over Thompson or Eckler over even a tight end, Kettle, if you want to go tight ends. Yep. Nowadays, you can do that in the first round.
Yeah, a lot of teams have done well taking like Travis Kelce in the first round in past years and building good teams.
Right. I could see that happening easily.
Yeah.
So Miles Sanders.
Like I said, that's kind of like where I stopped a little bit with my. Okay. I would take, like I said, I would still consider, and one that wasn't mentioned, I would still consider Aaron Jones at the end of the first round. I know they took Dylan, but I still think his volume, and because he scores a lot of touchdowns, he's still like a running back 1 territory. He had like 18, 19 touchdowns last season. I still think Aaron Rodgers is good.
Yeah, I got two people above Aaron Rodgers, and that's Miles Sanders. The ones that's you wouldn't take would be maybe Clyde Edwards and Miles Sanders. I have them both above Aaron Jones, and then Aaron Jones is my 14th pick.
Yeah, and to me they're the bunch of the crew that's like mixed in where they could go anywhere between like 5, 6, 7 different picks, and you wouldn't really necessarily be wrong.
Okay, now we're getting into quarterbacks, even with Clyde, with maybe not Aaron Jones, but we're getting into quarterbacks that you go maybe in the 3rd round, 4th round. The quarterbacks like Montgomery, David Montgomery. What do you think about Singletary?
I like Singletary. They drafted Zach Moss out of Utah, and they said he's going to fill the Frank Gore role, which means it's going to be at best a 50-50 split, which happens though because in modern-day fantasy, there's not many bell cows like McCaffrey, Barkley, Elliott as much anymore, Henry. There's not like 12 to 15 guys like that. But Singletary, I think, Singletary's still like a running back too. So he's like a mid-round guy. He could still be like, if he's your second starting running back, you could do okay. I mean, if you have like McCaffrey or Barkley and Singletary as your second, you'd still be in a good spot there.
Right. So you don't think they're going to be using him for the touchdown role on the 1 yard?
I could see Zach Moss getting carries, but I mean, I liked Singletary last year. He came on at the end. He helped me a lot in some dailies, win a few bucks here and there. I think he has potential, but I just with drafting anytime you draft a running back within the first 3 or 4 rounds nowadays, they're going to play. Like you find starting rookie running backs in the 4th, 5th, 6th rounds. I mean, Arian Foster is one of the best running backs of the last 20 years. He was undrafted and he was a fantasy beast for 4 or 5 years.
Right. And Montgomery, what do you think about him? David Montgomery for Chicago.
I just worry about him. Like I still think he has running back 2 upside, but he's still more of a flex for me because they love Tariq Cohen and Matt Nagy, their coach, is part of the Andy Reid disciple where they find like Montgomery's not as great out of the backfield catching the ball. Tariq Cohen's still going to get touches. So Montgomery to me is like a running back 2 flex position again. Right. And he killed me last year. He was a guy, I think he was going like 2nd round because he was the hottest name in the rookie one of the hottest names in the rookie running backs last year. Right. And I think he hurt a lot.
Right. So now players, these type of running backs, now we're getting a little bit lower, I think, when it comes to Taylor, Johnson, Carson, Gordon, Connor, and Bell. Now, I don't know what happened to James Conner, but it's like, are they not using him? What's the problem with that?
He was hurt a lot. I mean, as you know, his story, like he fought cancer, came back from cancer, which is a great story. We played at Pitt, had a monster year a couple years ago. I'm very hopeful that with Big Ben coming back, that will help him getting more in the passing game. But I think he's going to be more in for a timeshare. They still have Benny Snell. But he does, like I said, he has a lot of potential because he showed the flashes. Like Connor's one, I'm still, like, if you can get him at, like, again, like, remember I was saying it's about timing when you get certain running backs. If you get Connor at a certain time, he could be really big upside. And like I said, I agree with Jordan there. I saw the comment. Like, we haven't mentioned Chris Carson yet. Chris Carson, to me, is higher than all these guys. And I do agree with Jordan there. Chris Carson
number 20 for me.
Yeah, he's higher for me. He showed a lot. Again, as long as he's healthy, which we say it a lot, to me, he's right below, like, Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders for me. Like, I would take Carson over Gurley. I would take Carson over David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, Montgomery, Le'Veon Bell, Mark Ingram. Like, I'm a lot higher on Chris Carson. The Seahawks, even with Russell Wilson, they still get the running backs the ball. And unfortunately, Rashard Penny, he's always hurt. Chris Carson has done a lot more than Penny. Yeah. Like, I'm probably higher on Carson than it sounds like.
Well, I have Chris Carson. I have Carson at number 20 above Gordon, Connor, Bell, Ingram, Jones. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not sure about my boy Fournette from LSU. Now, obviously, he plays with Jaguars. Can he get it together?
The weird thing is he had like one of his better fantasy. He had like 70 catches, which is weird because remember, the biggest knock on him was he had like stone hands. He couldn't catch the ball. Then he had 70 catches. The problem is they brought in Chris Thompson, who used to be like the running back on the Redskins, like the pass catching back. So and Jay Gruden's new offensive coordinator, who coached Thompson, obviously in Washington. So I think, and Fournette's not happy there. He wants to get out in a new contract. I could see them. He's going to get the ball, but I could see them cutting back on the touches. But again, I'd have him about 15, 16 because I think he's still going to get the touches, but not like last year when he got 70 catches. But as long as he gets touchdowns, I don't think he got last year. It killed him. He only had like 4 touchdowns, which is crazy to think for Leonard Fournette.
Right. So I've never played in a 2-quarterback league. Have you?
I have once. I'm preferably 1 quarterback. Like I'm those I like the 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex, tight end, defense, kicker. 2 quarterback leagues is a whole different. I mean, 2 quarterback. If you do play 2 quarterback leagues, there, Ashton, make sure you draft 3 quarterbacks that are starters. Even if your 3rd quarterback's Nick Foles or Trubisky, make sure you get 3. So you try to get like one of the top tier guys, at least one of the mid tier guys, and then get one of the lower tier guys, but have 3 starters.
So in a 2-quarterback system like that, would you say that drafting a quarterback in the first round would be healthy?
It could be like that. That's the only type of league I would ever consider taking, and obviously it would be Mahomes, like we said last night, Jackson or Kyler Murray. I would still probably try to not. Me personally, I would still take a couple of running backs or receivers, and then try to get 2 guys like I said last night, like 2 guys that are like 8, 9, 10, and then get like a 3rd guy that's still a starter but much lower.
Yeah, with Le'Veon Bell, what kind of action did they do, the Jets, this year to help that team?
I don't know much. I mean, they signed Rashard Perriman to hopefully help Darnold, but I'm out. Le'Veon Bell, I had in a couple of leagues last year. They signed Frank. You know, it's not good. They still signed Frank Gore, the New York Jets, who's 36. God bless him. Frank Gore is a legend, future Hall of Famer. But I am out. Le'Veon Bell's on my like I said, you can draft him. If you get him late and people don't take him to like the 25th running back, then yes, take Le'Veon Bell. I'm out on Le'Veon Bell. Adam Gase is not in on Bell. Like I said, and he's the coach. So I'm out. Bell literally, he was one of the best fantasy players of the last decade, but not anymore. Not outside of Pittsburgh, not in New York.
Okay. What do you think about Denver's Melvin Gordon?
See, they have Gordon and they have Philip Lindsay. Philip Lindsay's only in his 3rd year. He's already had 2,000-yard seasons.
Lindsay,
but it's weird. It feels like they
solid.
don't love him. They don't love him because they had him and they tried to play. They still played Royce Freeman, and now they bring in Gordon. I think both of them have running back 2 flex upside. So, like I said, you want guys like that, but you can't rely 1,000% on both of them because you don't know. And it's not necessarily their fault. It's the coaching staff. Who are they going to play?
Man,
and their offense is good because, like I said, I'm all over Drew Lock. Like I said, I think Drew Lock's one was my super sleeper to have a good year.
If Philip Lindsay was a starter somewhere with a quarterback that dumps it down and that type of offense, he would be a superstar.
Lindsay would be a number 1 running back for me. Like I said, Lindsay to me could be like a Joe Mixon type, you know what I mean? A 7, 8, like ranked running back 1. But again, they just don't give him the love there. Maybe it's because he was undrafted. You know what I mean? I don't know. And they signed Melvin Gordon, which to me that didn't make sense. Like just for like the Denver, they have a young team, and you hit on a running back you didn't draft, and then bring in Melvin Gordon.
Okay, so now we're talking about a team that has a bunch of great tight ends, an old quarterback that likes to dump it down. People say he lost his arm in Tampa Bay. So what about Ronald Jones?
He's actually not my favorite running back on their team. I'm actually and again, if you get him, he's more like for me a flex running back 4 option. I'm actually higher on their rookie Keyshawn Vaughn, who they drafted. Tampa Bay, I'd try to avoid Ronald Jones personally, but I'd be higher on Keyshawn Vaughn. Those guys would probably be bigger though Ronald Jones would probably be a better daily lineup depending on price and how it goes. But if you're in a year long, I'd try to get, if he's your 4th running back or 5th running back, try to draft Keyshawn Vaughn.
Right.
So but Ronald Jones for me, like I said, I'm not looking for any shares of Ronald Jones.
So you're passing on Jones.
Yeah, and they said he's bulked up to 225 now, so I don't see that catching the ball in the backfield in. You know Brady. Brady wants his running backs playing a certain way. He's not going to take Ronald Jones missing a block.
Well, he needs his White. Brady needs his White.
James White. And I thought they might sign Dion Lewis because he was a free agent, because Lewis did well in New England for a few years, but then Dion Lewis went to the Giants.
What about the situation that San Francisco has in running backs? What do you think about that?
It's like whoever plays for them will do well because Kyle Shanahan's an offensive genius. The thing is, they still have – I mean, Mostert said he wants out because he wants a new contract. So, and I doubt they'll pay him. They still have Tevin Coleman and Jerick McKinnon. So, I mean, Jerick McKinnon was looking good, but then he had, unfortunately, back-to-back years of tearing his knee up, and he hasn't played in 2 years. Tevin Coleman had his moments. If Mostert was just there playing, Mostert would be the one I would take out of the three, but I think that's a situation as of now. It's too, murky in the water. Mostert has the highest upside. Coleman might be the safest guy to take out of the three of their backfield. But that's a situation to keep your eye on, and then whether you might have to hit the free agent, the waiver wire in your league, or in the dailies, then see who's the high hand. Just like last year, people played Mostert cheaply and won a lot of money.
I tell you what, I wouldn't sleep on Matt Breda with Miami. I mean, the guy, he gets an opportunity now. He never had that type of he's going to be a catching back, no matter what. He's going to get his points, catching the ball out the backfield. But he's a super talented back that I wouldn't sleep on. He's going to go in the draft. Somebody's going to choose him. But he could be a sneaky pick. Talking about sneaky picks and my LSU Tigers, what about my Washington Dice?
Darius
Guice.
I'm not. Unfortunately for him, Guice is on my no draft. He's one of the few guys I don't want to draft, and it's only mostly because of his injury history.
He's always hurt, man.
His knee injury, foot injury, and it's unfortunate because I think he has a lot of talent. They're still going to give Adrian Peterson the ball at 34 years old. I think I'm back for one more year. And I like what you said before, though, just jumping on what you said, Matt Breda. Matt Breda was on my sleeper list. So I said I'm trying not to sleep on him. And like I said, they do have Jordan Howard there who will get a couple carries, but Howard does not catch any passes. I think Matt Breda will fit in well there. Yeah, as long as he stays healthy. Darius Guice, I mean, if he plays, if you can get him for 1 or 2 weeks on dailies while he's healthy, but he's a guy I'd still take Adrian Peterson over him just because I feel like Guice, until he proves it, and I hope he proves me wrong, but I don't see Guice staying healthy because he's never has.
Right. No, I don't think he will. I think he's done. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
No.
Then one of the best running backs in fantasy football, Todd Gurley. He's done, isn't he? His knee, he has arthritis in his knee.
And he's not even that old. I think he's only 26 or 27 still, which is sad. And it's only a couple years removed from being MVP candidate and fantasy MVP. It's just with the chronic. He's on Atlanta. The chronic knee injury. I'm staying away. Again, if he's there in the mid rounds, you still want to take a chance on him. I prefer him to be my third running back though, with high upside. It's almost like last night I said, when you wait too long and if you take a quarterback earlier, then you're stuck with guys you don't want Le'Veon Bell and Gurley as your two running backs anymore. 4 years ago, you would win the championship with that. Nowadays, it's time to move on from those guys.
So, what's Atlanta's backfield now?
I mean, it's Gurley. I believe they still have Ito Smith, and I mean, I'm trying to look. I don't think they even draft anyone. I mean, Gurley's going to get the chance, and they had a couple guys. I know they played. There's 3 or 4 guys. There's a guy I remember trying to play the right guy each week because they'd be so cheap on dailies. But I mean, it's I'd still go Gurley if you're picking anyone from Atlanta because he's going to get the chances. You just got to be ready for him to miss a lot of time because he has a chronic knee injury, or to only have a snap count, where he only plays gets 15 touches, not 25 touches anymore.
Right.
Like you said about I see the comment, just answering the comment too, about Mostert. Like I said, I like Mostert. He would be my choice if I was taking a 49ers running back. The problem is he came out saying he wants a new contract or he wants out. And they're not going to pay him because he's like a journeyman already. And he finally hit. If he's going to play there, he's the guy to take. But I think they'll be happy going with Coleman and if McKinnon's back healthy. So, but if Mostert does play, he's a guy to keep an eye on because he did show at the end of last year and through the Super Bowl run for them that he can make plays.
Yeah. I'll tell you who I've been following the last couple of years. He's not a top tier running back or anything. And I've always seen that I followed him before he came to Houston. I really liked him before he came to Houston, and that's Duke Johnson. I don't know why they don't give him more opportunities. I just don't understand. You don't like Duke Johnson?
No, I was laughing because you took the words right out of my mouth. Last
I don't
year,
know why
they I know Carlos Hyde didn't do terrible last year, but it was just bland. It's like Cheerios being your favorite cereal. It gets the job done, but it's not flashy. No offense if Cheers is anyone's favorite cereal.
And
but like,
he's another one,
I
man.
think
Like Phillip Lindsay, Duke Johnson, they got super potential. We can see it. How come these great coaches can't see it?
Like there were some times last year that like when they had Duke Johnson in and gave him time, like there's a game like he had a couple touchdowns. They ran like an option play with Deshaun Watson and Hopkins with Duke Johnson in there. I think just Bill O'Brien, like, and again, Bill O'Brien did amazing at Penn State with what happened there to follow, but he's not a terrible coach. But I just think it's terrible that he's the GM though too of your team in Houston down there. I just think his decision making, like, play the best players. It's like it's almost like I'm the smartest man in the room. I'm going to show you that Carlos Hyde's going to get the job done.
Yeah, it's almost like he's stubborn.
Yeah,
you know, and he just doesn't want to do it. Even though, like you said, I know that game he did great. Then the next game,
didn't play him. And I think it was like he was a guy I had as like my 4th or 5th running back last year. But because you have injuries, you know, you literally play all the running backs you get. You barely ever get lucky just playing your top 2 guys. And Duke Johnson, like 1 week you put him in, he get you 20. The next week they don't give any touches, he gets you 1 fantasy point, like 1 catch for 2 yards. It's just unfortunate for him. It's the situation. It's not it doesn't get the opportunities.
Does San Francisco still have Coleman?
Yeah, like he's like I said, he's in the mix there with like most start if he plays, and I still think Jerick McKinnon's going to try to make a comeback. From last I read with San Francisco, even though he missed 2 years, because they signed Jerick McKinnon a couple years ago to be the guy when Shanahan got the job. But I mean, they're all like around like that flex play. With Mostert has the highest ceiling, but again, he asked for more money. Who knows what he's going to do? They might just try to trade him then.
Right. Where would you pick players that their upside is tremendous, but they have so many running backs in front of them, like James White?
Well, that's the problem with White, like just New England backfield with White and Michelle. Like you don't know who's going to play. Like if one of them just got the majority of the carries, they could be a running back 1. But I think it's hit or miss. It's not bad having those guys on your team, but they should be like your 3rd or 4th running back, 3rd, 4th, or 5th running backs. Like if they're one of your top 2 guys, you might be in a little trouble. And again, they might be better chance for like dailies.
Okay. Is there anybody that we didn't say that you wanted to talk about, the running backs? We're going to go and do our, like we usually do. Cam had something to do, so he left us. Now we're going to talk about running backs that's going to do rookie running backs that's going to do really well. And then that we think is going to do well, a running back that did really well last year, we think is going to drop off, and who is a number 1 running back.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, we covered most of the main. We covered a lot and most of the main people. Yeah. So just let me know where you want to go, Russell.
Okay, so who do you think is going to be the sleeper? Let's go ahead and go with the sleeper first. Who's going to be the sleeper of the season? I'm going to go with could be anybody.
2 levels of sleepers. I'm going to have, like I said, I think Kenyan Drake could be a top 5 fantasy running back this year. So he's still like a top 10, 12. So he's not like a sleeper per se, but I think sleeper in the sense he could be a top 5 guy. But my other, like more of like a long-term, like a bigger sleeper for me is I would say probably, and I'm going to go with a rookie here, and I'll go with a different rookie with when we say later. But I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift as a pretty big sleeper who we didn't talk about in Detroit yet, because Kerryon Johnson keeps getting hurt. I think Swift's going to have all the opportunity to play a lot there.
Okay, I think the rookie running back is going to be, of course, I just think Clyde Edwards is going to be a top tier running back.
I agree with you too. Like he's definitely the number 1 rookie, hands down.
And my sleeper is going to be a real deep sleeper, and that's Matt Breda. I think he's going to have touches. I think he's going to get dump downs. I think he's going to be a solid running back this year. If they could put together anything, you know, what's going on with their quarterback situation?
I mean, Fitzpatrick will start because they're still bringing because with Tua with the injury, and I think Tua will play some this year. But Fitzpatrick will play for a little while to start the season, which, I mean, Fitzpatrick can help people put up some numbers. Like I said, we'll talk about receivers and Devontae Parker next time.
Do you know their second? Oh, they got Tua.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tua will play. I don't think he's going to start there. Ryan Fitzpatrick will start the season.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know, man. What if all of a sudden Tua he likes to run the ball too? So then you have a situation to where Matt Breda would look really nice.
Yeah, I still think Breda could actually do okay with Fitzpatrick because Fitzpatrick just slings the ball and he'll dump the ball off as well.
Yeah. So who do you think's going to a running back that did well that's going to drop off?
Like I said, I still think Aaron Jones is a top running back. I don't think he'll be as good as last year because they drafted Adrian Dillon. Like guys I talked about a lot though before. Like I said, none of the top, any of the top guys you want to take. So you want to take those guys. Guys, like I said, I'm out on Gurley. Fortunately, like David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, Le'Veon Bell. Yeah. Those guys, like I'm really out on. Like if you take them as your third running back, and like I said, that's okay, and you just stack on other running backs. But I think for a top tier guy, like Aaron Jones could have a lesser of a season than he did last year if he doesn't get the 18 to 19 touchdowns. I'm still drafting him, but I could see him having a less of a year.
Well, people aren't going to like mine. No, I put him in my top 10 of a solid running back because I didn't want to look stupid. But what I think is going to happen is that this guy's going to drop off. I think it's going to be Derrick Henry. There's no way you're going to run up between the tackles like he did constantly. This is an NFL, baby. Like they're going to stop that sooner or later. And I think that he is going to be stopped or get hurt or, you just can't keep doing that. We've seen Gurley doing it, running that hard, and look at him now.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised either. Then, like I said, it's worth like saying guys that are still going to be top 10 picks, but they're not going to be like as good as they were last year. And that does make a big difference in fantasy.
A lot of people think that Alvin Kamara is going to drop too. I mean, that's just people think that that's going to happen. Even though everybody's like, oh, Drew Brees don't have an arm anymore. What does that mean? It means he's going to be dumping it down to Alvin Kamara. So who do you think is going to have the best year besides McCaffrey, Barkley, and Elliott?
I'm going to go with who I said before. And again, I think Kenyan Drake's going to be that high. I like Dalvin Cook, but again, his contract situation could be for a sticky situation. I think Kenyan Drake's going to get the opportunity and put in a top 5 fantasy season this year.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm trying to go a little off the cusp. You know what I mean? Not that it's crazy off the cusp, but like I think Kenyan Drake, like I said, I'm high on Murray. I'm still high on Kenyan Drake and the Arizona offense.
Well, I'll go off the cuff for sure. A lot of people don't think this is happening. He's high on my list than Kenyan Drake, and that's, again, Joe Mixon.
And he could easily be top 5 guy too.
Cook too, though. I mean, Cook. Yeah. Cook. I could see Cook having the kind of year that McCaffrey has. He's that type of back.
And like I said, the only thing that worries me with Cook is the contract situation. But yeah, if he was just full 100% go, Cook would probably be my answer. But
okay, before we go, what rookies are you excited to see?
All right, and I think this is the one position where you can load up on a lot of rookies as your 4th, 5th running backs. Like we said, Hilaire, he's almost a running back 1, I think. I mentioned DeAndre Swift before. I think Cam Akers in LA with the Rams is going to get a lot of run. I'm actually really high, though, like I was mentioning before, on Keyshawn Vaughn in Tampa Bay, because I think he's a guy that fits what Brady likes to do. And I don't believe in Ronald Jones at all. And one other one I'll mention, too, is and Cam mentioned him earlier when he was on, is Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis is going to definitely get a lot of shares, too. So there's definitely a lot of rookie running backs out there that have – I think Edwards-Helaire is the only one that has running back 1 potential this year. But a few of the guys, like I said, Swift, Taylor, Vaughn, could have running back 2 flex upside. And Cam Akers.
All right, guys. You guys that sat in here and watched the entire time here, we appreciate it. And so don't forget to go to TRHS Sports on YouTube. Subscribe right here. You're seeing it. Subscribe on that channel. This will not always be, like I said, it will not always be on my main channel. We'll stop that after we finish this 4-part series. But we appreciate you watching. Usually we have Cam. He's busy right now. I think he's playing golf, drinking a little bit, which is fine. But we'll usually have 3 people talking about this. Cam will be back with us next time. Again, subscribe, and we appreciate you guys watching. That's all we got for you today. Keep hope alive. Oh, and next week we have wide receivers, or probably in a few days or so. Wide receivers are coming, tight ends, defense.